Ladies and gentlemen, coming down the aisle, they are the team of the head of creative, Eddie Cool, his partner, the almighty B-Live, and their partner, the money man, Scottie D. They are the WrestleBros. What's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddie Cool, a.k.a. the HOC up in here, and wait a minute, this is not normally the Sports Bros podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 of the Wrestle Bros podcast. That's right, we're talking about wrestling, W-R-E-S-T-L-I-N-G. As Terry Funk once spelled it in a promo in ECW back in the day. And guess what? We're going to be talking about some wrestling. And in typical Sports Bros fashion, I brought my Sports Bros with me. And I'm flanked as always by the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on? This is the Wrestle Bros podcast. And you're listening to the one time almighty B-Live. Yes, sir.
That was three times, wasn't it? But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there.
Oh man, I don't know what I'm doing over here, but hey, this is first time for everything. Let's get it.
Exactly. And of course, as always, we got the heat-seeking missile himself, the money man, Scottie D.
Hey guys, you know what? I'm so glad that you're my friends. This friendship that'll never ever end.
What in the hell is going on here?
My God!
Oh
my God!
Money's Funhouse.
Oh my God! Are we fireflies, or is that what we're doing? We're going with the money flies. Is that's a thing now?
Money flies? That sounds like a bar somewhere.
It does.
Oh my goodness! Talking about gimmicks. All right, cool.
Oh man, hey man, you got to get over somehow. In case you were under a rock these past 48 to 24 hours, something monumental happened last night. The much anticipated All Elite Wrestling made its initial pay-per-view debut with their Double or Nothing pay-per-view this past Saturday night in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City, the place was sold out. There was people everywhere. Double or Nothing, All Elite Wrestling, and the card was pretty stacked. Now, we're not going to go over the entire card, and that's not to discredit any of the action that was going on during the pay-per-view, but, the most talked about action, we won't talk about it, okay? We're going to talk about it, and let's see, the first match that we don't want to discuss is the match that had the brothers versus the brothers, all right? We had Cody Rhodes, versus his brother, Dustin Rhodes, formerly known as the Natural Dustin Rhodes from his WCW days, and also Goldust during his run in the WWE, who was recently released not too long ago. And as far as that goes, who am I going to let start this? Scottie D, let's let you opine on the Battle of the Rhodes Brothers.
Well, I was watching it live, and I know you guys caught up with it a little bit later. And I think I had texted you guys that this is one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. Maybe not the best match ever, but it was a really good emotional roller coaster storytelling kind of match. I thought I was impressed that Big Brother had some of the moves that he had. I mean, he pulled out some stuff that you didn't see Goldust do for a long time. He was inspired. He looked like he was in pretty good shape. He bladed, seemingly. I mean, you had Earl Hebner doing the old toss out. He winded it up and tossed out Cody's wife, sent her to the back. DDP came out and scooped her up and got her out of there. And then, of course, the big finish. You kind of figured that Cody was going to go over, which he did, and he got the pinfall. But I was expecting it to be kind of the final match, but then what happened after? A little bit of brother love shown in the ring there, and it looks like we're going to get a tag match going forward between the two. But man, watching that, even take away the blood, it was just such a good match. And don't you feel like WWE missed out on that a few years ago when they had Cody doing the Stardust gimmick, and then it came to a boil, and those two were supposed to start feuding, and then it just kind of fizzled. They never really developed that, and I think that was a missed opportunity that was proven last night, and that could be a sign of things to come with the AEW if they're gonna pick up on things and move ahead creatively that on things that WWE might miss.
Yep, that's that's one of the more interesting, like, storylines and rivalries that WWE, they really could have done something with it if they didn't have their head up their behinds. They could have been like, okay, well, we have a personal issue, which is always classic in wrestling. People understand personal issues between two people, and then build the story, tell the story in the ring, get fans emotionally invested. I mean, that's the name of the game when it comes to this. So it's just like you got to strike while the iron's hot. Be live. Your thoughts, comments, and opinions.
Well, help me out real quick, because
Okay.
I thought there was a time that when Cody Rhodes went heel, that there was a small feud between Cody and Goldust at the time. What?
There was, and I couldn't tell you what the name of the pay-per-view. They wrestled on like a smaller pay-per-view, I think, and I think it was he was still the Stardust gimmick, and I think he might have won like with a roll-up or something. It wasn't like an epic kind of match where it was built up or anything, but it was a kind of thing that they probably should have. I mean, you never see a WWE put a match on pay-per-view and that's it. They always go again. But these guys didn't, and that should have been a WrestleMania match. I mean, these were Dusty Rhodes kids, man. That should have been a WrestleMania match. Maybe not the main event, but a WrestleMania match nonetheless. And where you have time to let them go at it. Last night that match was fantastic.
Right, and I say that to lead off. It's the simple fact that Cody and Dustin Rhodes spent the majority of their time at WWE as mid-carders at best.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of those things where there's an incredible amount of talent that gets buried because creative control in WWE is just there's an incredible amount of talent that you just don't see, because WWE is crazy. Like, you have 3 hours Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, but when you really get down to the nitty gritty of it, there's not enough. There really isn't enough time to feature the amount of talent that's out there. But
that's true.
Again, NXT is doing something where it's really not that much storyline behind it. It's just more action packed, but which I think WWE should do. But they spend too much time creating a character, showcasing a gimmick. Then they got to put a nickname behind it, and then all in all, it's so many things get lost in the wash. When it comes to the Cody Dustin match last night, it was every bit of what really came out is their passion and drive for the sport. That now that they've invested in a product that they truly believe in, their name is all through and through this, and so you really got to showcase what they're actually capable of. And the fact of the matter that they did not make it like the main event, they made it a middle of the pack match, shows that it wasn't all about them, but yet it gave them a time to show like that, all right, we've invested a lot in this, but it's also to showcase a lot of talent that's been really just looked over.
That's true. Yeah, that's true, man. I think that's one of my biggest things about the WWE right now is just that you have talent there. Okay, you got your main eventers, there's like what, 2 levels to the mid card. There's the main eventers, then the top of the mid card, then the lower mid card, and then everybody else.
Your jobbers and
and your jobbers, and and it's like, okay, and then you want to call guys up like the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger, who also popped up at AEW last night under his other name, Sean Spears, and he got a good ovation during the Casino Battle Royal. Yeah, you had him pop up, and then you have guys like Ty Dillinger. You call up, you bring him in, make a few noise. They say, oh, we ain't got nothing for you, and these guys are sitting out back eating up all the damn catering. Okay, and then wondering why. Okay, what am I going to be? I'm sorry, creative ain't got nothing for you. I understand being patient and biding your time, but look, as a professional wrestler, I think you have a window as far as time, your body, and everything else. Not to say, like, if you got kids at home, other commitments and everything, like, what if you have to, like, look, you got to strike while the iron's hot. And I guess for a lot of guys, like, you know what? We don't want to be here no more because we're getting underutilized. We got so much to give, and you're not allowing us to give like we supposed to, like we know we can, to flourish, because you still cater to your top guys, and then you cater somewhat to your mid card, and then everybody else is we just gonna throw the spaghetti noodle up the wall, hope it's al dente, and hope it sticks. Yes, I cook, but but it's the fact that you just have a bunch of talent in the locker room that's not being used. And prime example, we see what's going on here with Cody versus Dustin, and the match was great. The part that got me at the end where he said, I don't want just a partner. He said, I want my older brother. Cody's voice cracked, and I could have swore B-Live and Scottie D were in my living room cutting onions. Cutting onions.
That was one of those that there was a tear, maybe. I might admit it on the air that might have got me a little bit. So
yeah, but you know what? The reason you're emotionally invested in it is because they kind of made that a real moment. It wasn't a scripted thing, and that's where AEW has made a promise that they're going to let their guys speak more from the heart and do more of their own real style promos, like old school. I mean, nobody told Ric Flair what to say back in the 80s, and he was the most over guy because of that. But WWE has a tendency to make you run off a script, and that's kind of why I think that was such a heartfelt moment. And even like Jim Ross looked like he was crying, and the other goofy guy that was doing commentary with a mask on, he was wiping his tears on his mask.
I knew that. That made no sense.
You're doing commentary with a mask on.
That made no sense. I will agree with you on that.
That is Excalibur.
Yeah,
just to let you know.
Excalibur. I know who it is. I saw it.
Right. Now, a question for you fellas. Was it just me, or did it sound like JR was like 15, 20 years younger?
He sounded good. I thought he sounded on point, just like he didn't skip a beat. I thought he was good. Sounded
fresh, because Jim Ross did catch a lot of hell when he did the New Japan, when New Japan came over here last year in the U.S. Jim Ross did catch a little bit of heat about, oh man, he sounds old. He doesn't know the names. His commentary partner Josh Barnett is not helping him at all. But you know what? Last night I can't tell.
No, he was more in his element last night.
Yeah,
and he's part of that production team. Where Japan, I think he was just over there, just kind of more or less winging it. I mean, probably not quite winging it, but not quite as. I mean, he's part of this production team and part of the staff now on AEW, so he's going to be a big help. So he's helping tell a story that he's known. He might even be helping create it. You never know. But no, he was good, man. I thought he was good last night.
Right.
Yeah, JR was spot on. So so that Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes match, great, and can't wait to see them at that next pay-per-view. I think it's called Fighter Fest, and I think it's in July. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I think this one, the next pay-per-view is Fighter Fest. Moving on, the next match are the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers. Now, Scottie D, I'm going to lead off with you, because I remember a while back you said you weren't too fond of the Mask and the Mexican wrestlers, but you told me that the Lucha Bros may have changed your perspective on that altogether.
Well, let's not go that far.
I'm sorry.
I had seen maybe one or two matches of Pentagon. That was the one Lucha Brothers name. I don't.
Cero Mero.
I don't believe I'd seen the Phoenix before, but that dude was incredible. I think it'd be awesome if they do all those things without wearing masks. I mean, I just think it's time to stop wearing masks. I mean, that's all.
Jesus, God.
I mean,
You really don't want us to have an international audience. You really don't. To the entire country of Mexico, please, I apologize on behalf of the Sports Bros and WrestleBros podcast. Yes,
is
I
it?
know it's part of your culture. It's part of their culture. Are you kidding me? But it's all right.
It's time to stop wearing masks, guys.
Oh boy.
It's just becoming time.
All right. So we know who the heel is on the Russell Bros podcast.
I'm not trying to be a heel.
Established. You are established.
It's done. It's a wrap. You are the heel.
But when I watch Lucha House Party roll to the ring on Monday nights, I'm reaching for my remote, boys. I ain't lying. I mean, it's clownish. It's cartoonish.
Oh no, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, it is.
That
how are you supposed to take that serious? And those guys are good. I mean, they fly around. They're good, but I can't take that serious.
I'm put a sidebar in this because I mean that match was amazing. I feel like just to touch base on. Because they have done luchadors wrong in a lot of facets. They've done wrong in WWE. I don't know what. I'm sorry, Lucha Underground. When I was watching that, I was watching the Mexican version of Survivor because I mean that's the guy who produced it.
Yep.
And some of the storylines was just wrong. It was just wrong. You're doing too much to make it into some type of drama, and I just want wrestling. I want to see some acrobatics. That's what I want to see when I'm watching Lucha Underground.
Well, that match with the Young Bucks had no shortage of acrobatics.
Right.
That match was crazy good.
Yeah, it was good, man. The thing about Lucha Underground, Lucha Underground was not a promotion, but it was more like a television production that had wrestling on it. And from a storytelling standpoint, Lucha Underground did a phenomenal job of telling a story. Now, if you want a bone to pick, let's talk about the Mexicools, okay? You want to talk about perpetuating stereotypes.
Boy.
Oh, my God.
I remember, yes.
But you got Psychosis, no mask. Juventud, no mask. Super Crazy, no mask. What do you got them doing? You got them in jumpsuits and riding lawnmowers to the ring.
Wrong. Just wrong. Exactly.
I'm just over here, and I was in my 20s, and I was like, you know what? This ain't right, but I'm gonna try to like it. And I was like, nah, brah, this ain't it, man. So it's just I understand when it comes to sports entertainment. You have to. You come real close to blurring that line. But the damn Mexicools, I was like, okay, now you perpetuate stereotypes. I'm like, do you guys not have a diversity department in this company? Like, do you understand you're a publicly traded company? And I'm pretty sure they got letters and phone calls from everybody. Okay? I'm pretty sure they get letters and phone calls, but they went ahead and went through with it and put the kibosh on it. But back to the Bucks and the Lucha Bros match, most definitely, man, it was a great match, and the Young Bucks retained the AAA World Tag Team Championships. AAA, one of the hottest promotions in Mexico. They were on the downturn for a little bit, but from the looks of it, they're starting to right the ship once again. Speaking of righting the ship once again, we have the Alpha himself, Chris Jericho, versus the best bout machine, Kenny Omega. Scottie D, what do you think about that match?
I thought Chris Jericho looked fat. That was the biggest takeaway I had. I thought that Chris Jericho looked lumbering and slow and gassed at times, and I think it slowed Kenny Omega down a little bit because I think he's in better shape. But the match itself was good. It just wasn't as good as the previous two. I thought that it kind of put a little bit. It slowed it down a little bit. I mean, it was. I would say if those other two matches were A pluses, that one was maybe like a B. I didn't think it was a terrible match. I thought it was entertaining. Jericho's always entertaining. I gotta tell you, those guys were just chopping the hell out of each other, and that got to be a distraction for me. It was too much. They
Chop this.
Too many knife edge chops. I'm like, these guys both have plenty of moves in their arsenal, and they're spending time just wearing each other's chests out, especially Omega for a while. He just kept chopping Jericho till he was raw. I just thought that was too much. So I didn't enjoy that match as much as the other two. But when you get to the end and then all of a sudden our surprise member of the Shield pops out of there, that kind of, that was, I consider that actually kind of be part of that match because it was part of that segment. But that was pretty exciting finish, I thought. So overall, I'm not gonna really give a thumbs down to that match, or I might be sounding a little bit negative with it, but I really, I enjoyed that match too, especially the beginning whenever the referee couldn't get the barrel out of the ring and Jericho got mad.
Man,
that was the that was the funniest part of it. I'm over here like, referee's like, well, I'm gonna put it under the ring, and I'm like, well, you do understand you have a rope that is bendable, but you have the apron, the hardest part of the ring.
He's trying to wedge it
that's not moving. First of all, how the hell did the barrel get in the ring to begin with?
I didn't see it get put in. I don't know. Somebody must have lifted it over the rope to start with, and then just bailed on him and left no plan to get it back out of there, I guess.
Yeah, because I'm over like, okay, because normally at a wrestling event, you got stage hands that take care of things like that between changing the canvas and tightening the ring ropes and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, yeah, we're just kind of just twiddling thumbs, and then Chris Jericho said, "Let me show you how to get this barrel out of the damn ring." All right,
that was kind of funny. I thought.
Yeah, put it between the bottom rope and the middle rope, and that damn sure got a pop. I popped for that one, most definitely. Yeah, I got.
Hey, Jericho is super entertaining, and he even last night he was working the crowd during the match. I mean, they were completely responsive to him. He hasn't lost a step when it comes to his entertainment value. I thought he just looked a little bit. I mean, I guess he's 48, 47, whatever, so that's bound to happen.
Yeah.
I'm approaching that age, so I can understand the slowing of the metabolism. But he looked strong. He just looked slower to me than usual. So, and I get, like I said, I guess that's to be expected.
No, see, Scottie D, you're being way too nice. You're being way too nice. I'm going to do a heel turn right here.
Oh, man, I was about to say, we got a heel turn? 25 minutes into the show, we got a heel turn? Oh, man.
I was thoroughly disappointed in the Omega Chris Jericho match for the exact reasons you were already saying.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho was fat. He was slow.
Little dick.
Period. I love the way you're trying to sugarcoat it. I love the way you try because you don't want to take away from an overall amazing pay-per-view, amazing wrestling event. AEW, I believe, has staying power. I believe so. Here's the thing. If they're going to have staying power, you've got to be truthful about certain things. That match was poorly planned. That's why you had 50-11 knife edge chops, because there was 27 times Kenny Omega tried to put Chris Jericho on his shoulders, and his whole back like to cave in because it was too much weight.
The one-winged angel.
I'm just saying, he was trying. Man, I'd have been like, man, bro, you need to lay off whatever you eating because you on my back.
Did you think that the chop thing got a little bit much too? I mean, did you share that opinion with me?
That's what, and the reason why they did that is because Kenny Omega couldn't do half the stuff he wanted to do in his move repertoire. Because shoot, it was you go into a match preparing for all of the stuff that you do behind the scenes, your house shows and everything like that. The guy adds 15 pounds. That affects everything.
Hey, that's true. Yep. Even throwing those little Japanese dudes around for the last couple years, Jericho's a little thicker.
All right. So I mean that it looked sluggish. Like the poor planning with this moment has been brought to you by Cracker Barrel. We got it. Now get the thing out of the freaking ring.
The damn barrel.
And I'm gonna tell you right now. Here's something else. I'm just gonna be 100% honest with you. I thought Chris Jericho was gonna take the barrel and throw it over the ring. And then
I thought the
and
same
then
thing
when
too.
he,
I was like,
and then when he grabbed it and he struggled with it. He's like, oh nope, I can't lift it like I want to. Let me try to roll it in
yeah.
between the ropes. I was like, this is a little amateurish. This is a
Yeah,
little,
he was.
did it?
Yeah, a little suspect. But yeah, Chris Jericho's like, let me go ahead and get this barrel out of the ring before it has me looking like a freaking punk in the ring. So I don't think the match is that bad. It could have been better, but this rivalry is far from done, in my opinion. Also, the winner of that match, there was a special stipulation. The winner of that match will go on to meet Hangman Page for the vacant AEW World Title. Have you guys seen that belt?
Yeah, the Hitman brought it out last night.
Yes, that was another surprise. Seeing Bret the Hitman Hart on the AEW pay-per-view. And I was like, oh, they reached out to everybody. But I guess, when you got that con money, hey, anything's possible.
The Vegas screw job.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Vegas screw job. Here
Bret
we go.
Hart was like, all right, we've mended some bridges, and I bet one of those stipulations behind mending the bridges, everything's like, hey, you're gonna put me in the Hall of Fame, but I'm still doing my own thing. Y'all ain't gonna put me on the contract because y'all really did screw a brother. If you really want to talk about it. So hey, I'm gonna still make some money on the side, players. So
exactly. All right, and as we did mention, Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, makes his debut in AEW and beats up everybody. If it's moving, he knocked it out. And to be honest with you, normally there's a 90-day no-compete clause once you get released from the WWE, which means 3 months. You sit home, you chill, you get a check. Now after that, you're going to do what you want to do. But I guess with Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, he didn't resign his contract. His contract expired in April, which means he had the time to, he wasn't bound to the 90-day no-compete clause. So, which means, as soon as the calendar turned, it was just up on him. And someone put some stupid tweet up about, he was gonna back away for a little bit and do some acting opportunities, do some indie wrestling. And then I'm like, and see, here's the thing about the dirt sheets and stuff when it comes to wrestling. You can't believe everything that you read, and you can't believe everything that you hear, because the rumor was, he's supposed to do what he want to do for a little bit and then come back to the WWE, but he's not going to do that because he signed a multiple, which means more than one, a multi-year deal with AEW. So he's going to be there for a while, right? So as far as that rumor and innuendo of that silly tweet, it's null and void. Nice try. Collect your money and get out the dough.
Yeah,
All right?
technically he didn't compete last night, so I don't know what the technicality of that is, because by the time AEW goes on the air, it'll be more than 90 days. So, he worked out his contract, so he might not have had that, like you said. Regardless, that might not have even been an issue. But if he didn't actually compete, then he wasn't in a match last night. He just came in and mopped up after the match. So I don't know what technicalities are on all that, but he, from what I understand, he signed that multi-year deal, and until they go on the air, he's free to do independent bookings and work the indie shows.
Yep, to do what he wants. Be like, what you think about Jon Moxley and AEW?
And so, like I said, I was doing my heel turn. He saved the ending of that pay-per-view because it was ending on a sour note. And then Chris Jericho doing his heel thing. And I was like, bruh, you sucked at that match, by the way. And now you coming in talking trash to the crowd. Thank you, Jon Moxley. Even with that, he just came in beating up people. But it was that shock and awe effect of him coming in and doing what it do that really did, thankfully, take away from a sub-stellar match. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, it did kind of go long. I was like, all right, this thing got to end soon. And then the Judas effect, a spinning.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
We gonna talk about. We done opened up that door. We done got in the car, crank it up, floor. Let's talk about this. You mean to tell me, Chris Jericho, you go from the Lion Tamer to the Walls of Jericho to the Code Breaker to the Judas Effect, a spinning back elbow, like in 1975, that would have got over. But last night, I'm like, and that's probably why I was like, oh, he beat him. What did he beat him with? A spinning back. What the hell?
And poor JR. JR was trying his best to sell how devastating the Judas Effect was. And I'm over here like, bro, what in the hell did we just witness?
What is this?
And see, Eddie, when I tell you I want to move on from things and let things go, you see, you had to bring it. Oh my goodness, because that was not the only time in AEW that pay-per-view that people were doing these spinning moves, and it was supposed to be the most devastating thing that anybody's ever seen, heard, felt. Not only was it poorly executed, like it had no like. It shouldn't even phase them, let alone be the knockout finisher. But that's.
Yeah, you could take Kenny Omega and put him through tables and put him in the Walls of Jericho, but then you elbow him and you pin him. Not a good finish. I didn't like that either.
And then whatever table that they had, it was. Okay,
that was a tough table.
Okay,
like a ping pong table.
Let me.
Kenny, and think about it, Kenny's not the big of a dude anyway. So
let me say this real quick, because unfortunately we have come to a time that because WWE has had pretty much essentially a monopoly over the wrestling industry for the American wrestling industry for quite some time. AEW has to come in somehow, some way, and redefine the wrestling industry, and I think it's going to be hard to do. Like right now, I'm just telling you, AEW looks like the minor leagues of WWE, and it should not be that way. It should be a competing factor, but the simple fact that AEW still use some of the names and some of the situations that made fighters famous in WWE, like even though Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger, what is his name now again?
Sean
Spears. He's still flashing the 10. Like I don't know, was that part of his indie thing before he made it to WWE, or was that his stick in WWE? But he's more known now for what he did in WWE and then brought it over to AEW. The fact that Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, was that a WWE thing that they're still going with their Rhodes name as opposed to their actual name of Runnels? Is that I don't know, like it's one of those things where they had to hold on to certain WWE elements just so the new crowd would recognize them.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the draw is to add familiarity to the unknown and bridge it together. I thought it was well done, to be honest with you. I didn't feel like I was watching a minor league production at all. I know that obviously being their first one as AEW, and I know it's their second big pay-per-view, I thought it was really well done. And you're always going to have some bugs to work out, and there's going to be a few things here and there, but I didn't feel like I was watching a minor league. I felt like I'm watching an upstart that's going to be competitive. They're not going to topple WWE. WWE's not going anywhere. But I do think it's going to give us some more competition, and that'll make WWE better.
Right. I mean, I think it's wrestling is better when there's more than one head entity. When you have multiple, I mean, if you look at the landscape right now, this is why I love talking about wrestling, WrestleBros podcast. Let's get it. All right. When you look at the whole landscape of professional wrestling, dating back to the territories and everything, you had individual territories. It was ran by the promoter. 9 times out of the 10, the promoter of that territory was also the champion of that territory. Reason being, he ain't gonna, he's not gonna up and leave his own territory, so that's why he became, the champion. I.e. Vern Gagne from the AWA, Eddie Graham down in Florida, the Fullers in Tennessee, the Von Erichs in Texas and Dallas and everything, and then out west, you had everybody else. And so it's just a fact that now it has become, once Vince McMahon, went on his great, I don't want to say pillage, but when he went on his great pillage and in the 80s and bought everything except for, Jim Crockett Promotions, it was Vince versus Jim Crockett Promotions. Then it became Vince versus WCW. And then it got to the point where, WCW made enough money, but they couldn't get out their own way because due to their own stupidity. And also, I don't know if you guys know this, but also it came to the point where TNT and the Turner Networks, they no longer wanted wrestling. But the funny thing about it was, wrestling was one of the highest rated programs for like 20, 25 years. Now, all of a sudden, when this AOL Time Warner merger came around, now we don't want it. Because, a few people just turn their nose up at it. I mean, I'm sorry. If I'm a network and that's my highest rated program, I'm doing what I can to keep that on my station because that's keeping my station alive. That's keeping eyes on the product and the program. So, therefore, we have eyes on product in the program. You get sponsors and so forth and so such. Money comes in. But it got to the point where WCW was bleeding so much damn money to where, they could barely afford to keep the lights on. And then Vince came in and bought his competition. And then between him buying WCW and AEW now, it was just him. I don't even want to talk about Impact. I don't even want to consider them competition.
No.
It was just a flash in the pan. They were just hot for a minute, and then once they decided that they want to go Monday night, it was all over but the crying.
I'm going to say one thing about Impact. The second they left the 6-sided ring and went to a 4-sided ring, that was it. They conformed. It was such an upstart. I know there was a lot of traditionalists and stuff like that, and it was a little bit more difficult with the 6-sided ring, but it was different. And I guess that, in my mind, is where I don't want AEW to look like a minor league WWE. I want it to be that upstart. And I guess I'm placing my personal opinion aside and looking from the outside in, looking at the general wrestling fanatic, the people that you're trying to attract, because wrestling purists as a whole is not a vast majority. Like the people that are studying the moves and the people that are listening to this podcast, they want something more than just the normal watcher of wrestling. So I guess what I'm saying is that I want it to be different. I want it to be upstart. I want it to be, hey, reinvent yourself. This is the perfect opportunity for Cody Rhodes to reinvent himself. For Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, it's always going to be Chris Jericho. The Jericho Omega thing was from what faction was that? Not faction, but what was that? New Japan? That was New Japan.
Yep.
That was New
Japan.
That was New Japan with that. So that was brought over from that. But this is a big opportunity for people to reinvent themselves. Ty Dillinger, I think, or what is his name again? God,
Sean Spears.
See, that's what I'm saying. This Sean Spears. I can't remember him because he came in, he just changed his name, but still has the same perfect 10 stick. I get that.
He should have put on a mask.
Oh.
That would have made it different. That would have made it fun.
But no, overall, I'm very thankful for AEW. It is going to be something where WWE has to step up. They've already lost a considerable amount of talent. And so it's one of those things where now I'm gonna let this be a segue because we're going to talk about the silliness that the WWE is coming with the 24/7 title.
Oh boy!
But
before, I'm sorry, Bilal, but before we go there, just to let everyone and ourselves know, at the height of the wrestling boom around the Attitude Era, you had 11 million people, up to 11 million people watching professional wrestling. Now it is taking a staggering decline to 2 million people. And Fox said, look, you want to be on the network? Know what you got to do? 3 million plus every week. Okay? 3 million plus every week. And that would be that would be bad if they were like 2.5, 2.8, 2.9. And like, hey, you think Fox won't let you go? Ask Empire and Star and some of those other shows, okay? As B Live did mention, the 24/7 title was introduced last Monday by Mick Foley. It's not his fault, to be honest with you. It's just the fact that you're trying to once again grasp at something, or the classic case of throwing something against the wall and hoping that it sticks. Now, the 24/7 title was initially supposed to be defended during the third hour of Raw, and the third hour of Raw is supposed to be stripped down, gritty, black and white, looking real basic. The first 24/7 champion wound up being Titus O'Neil for a grand total of 55 seconds until Bobby Roode hit him in the face with a pie, got a pin, he took the belt, and then next thing you know, Bobby Roode was trying to get away in the getaway car. Out pops the referee. Truth kicks him. He gets the belt 1, 2, 3. And R-Truth is the third.
See, right now,
oh God,
Eddie Cool, the head of creator right now, is laughing because it's such a laughable matter. Like nothing,
it is.
Nothing about this 24/7 title is relevant. Nothing.
Oh God.
It is.
Yeah, but you know what? I cut it into halfway into SmackDown the other night when I put it on, and I saw R-Truth running down the hallway with a blonde wig. Man, that was funny to me. So if they're gonna make me laugh a little bit, if they're using this to be some comic relief, I get before I completely condemn it. I gotta wait and see how it goes, because I was like the fans when they first unveiled it the other night. I'm like, really? That's what you're doing?
Yeah.
Not only that, but it looked like they popped that belt out of a plastic at Walmart. Like this is a toy belt, and I mean, it looks ridiculous. I mean, it's really bad. But maybe that's what they wanted. Maybe they wanted to be ridiculous and have these guys fighting over a ridiculous belt. I'm not super excited about it, but if R-Truth's involved, then I like it, I guess, because I have such a high opinion of him. But yeah, I mean, what? It's funny that a referee will just pop out of anywhere. Like, you know, he's in the car, and you know, if they keep it going and they're walking through an airport and get attacked, and a referee comes out of nowhere and he's still wearing a striped shirt, that kind of thing could be funny, I think.
Yeah. Eddie Cool.
Yeah.
Eddie Cool. Let me give you your absolute props, by the way, because your Tranquilo Thursday was hilarious. What was the World Heavy Metalweight Champion?
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay,
man.
In case you missed this week's edition of Tranquilo Thursday, I was opining on two things. Kawhi Leonard, the whole Max Kellerman Kobe situation. I could not let it go with the 24/7 title. I compared it to a title in Japan known as the, you ready for it, Be Live? Let me make sure I got it right here. The DDT is a promotion called DDT, Dramatic Dream Team Promotion. Kenny Omega once wrestled there. Joey Ryan once wrestled there, and also Kota Ibushi, he once wrestled there as well too. The name of the title is all right, let's try it. Ready? The DDT Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship.
The Iron Man Heavy Metalweight or Metal Heavyweight? Heavy
Metalweight Championship.
Metalweight Championship. What is it? What is this? Sponsored by Metallica? Kiss? Heavy Metal? Sorry, my bad.
I don't know. Somebody got screwed on the deal. Somebody screwed the pooch on the deal.
But you had me falling out. I died when you talk about a pew monkey. A pew.
I posted a picture. You saw it. A monkey won the title, and a ladder is two-time.
Vince McMahon's star. I saw that video, and I'll say you have got to be kidding me. So I get the comedic relief. I get it. Oh my God, It is pretty funny. I follow R-Truth, and he has the belt, and there was one video where he had his daughter, and that was as cute as could be. And I like the comic relief, but I really, honest to God, I think they're reaching for straws at this point in time, they're trying to make some story out of the mid-carders that they've overlooked for years now, and now they're trying to make it they're trying to either make it comedic or make it somewhat relevant, because they're actually losing a lot of their talent, their up and coming talent, because they sat on them for too long. From the little bit I gathered.
Yeah, so at least they're getting on TV. I mean, you go weeks at a time without seeing some of these guys. At least they're getting on TV by doing this, and I guess that's a start. You have an opportunity maybe to get a little more exposure. That's probably the silver lining of it, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I look at as like, okay, this title is, because think about it, who all come running out the locker room? It was Titus O'Neil, Bobby Roode,
EC3,
No Way Jose, EC3,
Carl Anderson,
Anderson and Gallows.
Yeah. So it's guys that are good enough to be being utilized, and they're not on TV. So at least they're on TV. They're getting some kind of exposure doing that. That beats just watching. I mean, how many times do they just keep replaying what you saw in the first 15 minutes? I mean, how many times do you watch Raw and the first 15 minutes are dedicated to setting up the show tonight, and then the next hour they show the same thing that you've already seen? I mean, how many times have you seen that? This is better than that, I think.
Yeah, and when that third hour comes around, man, it's like, if you ask me, man, they should simplify it and keep it to 2. Keep it to 2, and which means when you keep it to 2 hours.
No, don't simplify and put it to 2 hours. Give us more matches. Stop giving us replays. You give us more meaningful matches. Don't add another silly title. I mean, give me more battle royals. Give me more
Give me more Zelina Vega.
Yes.
Just give me more Zelina.
Plenty.
Give her the last hour. Make it the Zelina hour.
Plenty.
Because she is.
I'll promise.
She is hotter than train smoke. So just put her on TV, and I'm good.
All right. So what?
I will stay awake for that. I sure will. I don't care what's going on.
I think the way that Scottie D just talked about Zelina Vega just took our rating from PG to PG-13. Just for record, kids, don't try this at home, and I don't know.
And don't put any mask on that girl.
We won't see all that face. Show them all 32 teeth, girl. Show all 32 teeth. You keep on, Scott. Alistair Black gonna get you because they married in real life. Yeah. Let's see what else we got going. Oh, so that's it for the 24/7 title. We all agree that it gives these guys something to do in the final hour of Raw, because at that point, all the main storylines that we really care about, we've either seen at the beginning of the show, the middle of the show, or we don't see it all. So therefore, just more hodgepodge stuff against the wall. I kind of think it's a reach, but hey, man, you got to do what you got to do to get your ratings up. And with you moving to Fox, SmackDown moving to Fox, you got to figure something out quick.
I feel like talking trash. Brock Lesnar again,
Mr. Money in the Bank.
Are we're not done with him?
Retired from MMA.
We have to deal with him more.
And
now he's got a briefcase with a guaranteed contract, and he's pretending like it's a boombox on his shoulder. What in the entire hell is going on? He has no rhythm or flavor. Like what is he trying to do? Stop it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, I thought Brock Lesnar winning that case was fantastic. I loved that. I loved it. I love Brock having that briefcase. That creates
It was
different kind of suspense than you've seen out of a Money in the Bank winner forever. That it's a whole different ball game with Brock. It's like something hanging over these guys' heads. And have you ever seen it before where the champions go out and say, "Cash that in on me. I want you to cash in," because they want to get it over with. They want to get it out of the way. You haven't never seen that. It's
Yep.
a whole different kind of angle with Brock Lesnar doing it. And anytime you get Paul Heyman on TV talking and Brock grinning and jumping around while he's doing it, sign me up, man. I like it.
I tell you what, man. That's the thing about Paul. That's the thing about this pairing about Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. And what Paul Heyman can do, Paul Heyman can talk them in the building. He can talk them in the building, and it's the classic case of Paul Heyman is one of those guys that's been around in the business forever, and he has the gift for gab. If you would allow me to volley, sir, about the beast incarnate Brock, you should hear Bruce Pritchard's impersonation of Paul Heyman. It is absolutely funny, but it's true. I mean, Paul just has the ability to talk them into the building. If you aren't interested, guess what? After you're done, you will have an interest in it, because you know what? Brock ain't got the best mic skills at all. Brock's mic skills are non-existent. So that's why you need a mouthpiece like Paul Heyman to talk them in the building for you. And what you do, you go in the ring, you beat them up.
Well, here's the thing about actually Brock could probably talk more if he would get the opportunity. They choose to go that route, and it works. It's gold. But this is not the same as him being the champion and not being on TV. This is something way different. This is more interesting because he's seeking the title. I agree. That sucked with him being the champion so much of the time the last couple of years, because you don't have the title on TV being defended, and you're creating other storylines around it. But if he's not the champion, so what if he's part-time? Let him come and go. I don't think they're gonna put the title back on him.
yeah.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know. B-Dot, where you set up on
It
that?
wasn't like I am such a fan of the Money in the Bank. I think it was one of their better concepts. I like the fact that it was almost a guarantee that the Money in the Bank ladder winner would some way somehow eventually win the title. I think what they did with the women was phenomenal. I think that was how the Money in the Bank is supposed to be. It's supposed to be something completely random that you don't see it coming. Somebody gets beat up, pat, pat, pat. Oh, you just won, or you close to losing, or whatever. Bring in the briefcase, smack somebody over the head with it. I don't know, but I see your angle. I see Scottie. I see your angle when it comes to Brock Lesnar.
Right.
Yes.
Because what if he doesn't show up on TV now the rest of the summer? How many times if Seth's in the ring or Kofi's in the ring, all you have to do is play his music, the Brock's whatever that goofy sound is before he comes out. You play that, and the fans are looking, and they are out of their seats. He doesn't even have to be there. It's just the thought of him being there. He could skip the next 3 months and come back in SummerSlam. But it's the idea of him being out there somewhere lurking with that case. That's different. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, I can agree to a point, but when does it become the boy who cried wolf? Where his music no longer has an effect, because now essentially where the Universal Championship became irrelevant, and it really did, and it still doesn't have as much luster because he held it for so long and he wasn't there. It wasn't a fighting belt, and really I may be tripping, I may be slipping a little bit in the brain, but has freaking Seth Rollins defended it yet?
I don't remember.
The night after WrestleMania.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But, now he defended it once since WrestleMania. That's a month and a half. Seth?
No, he had a match against AJ Styles.
That was the last pay-per-view.
Yeah, the last pay-per-view. Okay. And he defended against Kofi the very next night. And that match interrupted at the end. They didn't finish, but
yeah, I find the Money in the Bank briefcase should be seen and displayed if it's not already being used, which I think is great. I want to see what they do with Bailey. I think that went phenomenally. I think that's exactly how it should have went.
She
Yeah,
needed that. Oh, she
she
needed that.
needed that because, and I think that just added a completely different spin to it. I really honestly did not like the whole Becky two belts thing. Thank God, but
You
I
didn't
did
like
not
it?
like Becky two belts because
Oh.
so much talent in the women's locker room for it all to be behind one woman. And I mean, I get the hype behind it, but it the fact that the two belts are around one person. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
at this point, they need to get rid of the two belts altogether because let's face it, it's not a brand split anymore. If both champions are going to be on both nights, what sense does that make?
Yeah, the whole wild card rule. If
Yeah,
they,
well,
I'm
this is
sorry.
really bad right now with that rule.
Where is my 2-ply toilet paper so I can wipe my tail with the wild card rule? Because that's just it. It's not a brand. You're absolutely right. It's not a brand split anymore.
And
No.
every champion right now is a face, and that typically doesn't work. It's always better to have a heel champion than a face chase.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to kind of mix it up, man. Because as you said, man, it's just the fact that you have to you have to mix it up because if it's just like a face champion, that's cool. Well, guess what? You're gonna need a heel to come in there to get the belt and to have the next best face to chase that heel for that said title. That's how it works. I mean, they try to say, oh, there ain't no such things as good guys and bad guys. Yeah, that's true to an extent. But then again, you got heels and baby faces and tweeners, and if you look at it, the NWO changed that dynamic because the NWO made bad guys cool. Ric Flair made heels cool, and Tully Blanchard back in the day they made heels cool, and so it's just the fact that you have to have a white meat baby face such as John Cena chasing the title again. We know he ain't chasing nothing but a movie check nowadays. And shout out to him and what he does for the whole Make a Wish Foundation, man. How many wishes he granted? Like over 1,000 or close to it. Shout out for John Cena for doing that, man. It's just you just have to have that. I think you have to have that equal balance, and because even if you look at the titles in NXT, there's no tag team champions. Let's see, the women's champion is, let me see. Well, okay, the women's champion in NXT, that's Shayna Baszler. The TNA champion, the NXT champion is Johnny Gargano, and I don't know if he's heel or face or whatever. But I don't want to say it's kind of confusing, but they have to have people to chase them.
Right.
And then the Velveteen Dream is just on another
He
level.
he just does his own thing, so that's what makes him such
Yeah.
a draw. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think because I'm gonna tell you what a very big issue that WWE has right now. They got to find a way, unfortunately, because like you say, everybody's a face. They've got to find a way to write off one of their faces. They've got to find a way because
somebody got turned.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you can already tell the luster is already falling off of Kofi Kingston. It is I mean, like the whole New Day stick and everything like that. The crowd claps and everything, but even his matches are not as overwhelming as they were before when he was chasing the dream.
The thrill of the chase. Yep. It's the thrill of the chase, and so that's that. All right. So that's the status of Money in the Bank and what can be done moving forward. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the not so elephant in the room, but it said Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse? Yeah. A little different. At first I was like, what in the hell is going on? So he took time off to do this. But each week it gets different. And each week there's another layer that's being uncovered. And I can't wait to see the big payoff, to be honest with you. What you guys feel about Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse?
Oh, I will say this. everything that WWE was trying to do to make it PG and kid friendly, they just said the heck with it with Bray Wyatt. I'm a 36-year-old man, and I'm about to have nightmares with that crazy looking freaking mask he got on.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm just gonna say that. I don't even know what angle they're trying to do with that. Some kid has nightmares right now because of Bray Wyatt. And that's it.
I think
Wow.
I think it's going to all come down to. I mean, when he debuted, he was like this scary kind of odd character. If they're going to make him be scary, they can't make the same mistake. You got to let him win. I mean, he just kept going out and eating pins. Every feud he would get into, he'd be like this, have this like scary psychological advantage, and then he'd end up losing 3 times in a row at a pay-per-view to whoever he was battling against. You got to let him win, or otherwise it loses its effectiveness.
I didn't understand it. Like the Firefly, he was one of those heels that it was cool to be a heel because it was the psychological things he did. He is absolutely amazing behind the camera. Like he puts on a production that really is second to none. And I don't get it for the life of me, or why they went away from his original stick.
They just kept having him lose. He just was losing every feud, and that took away from his character. He should have been winning. He should have beat John Cena at WrestleMania when he was super super hot, and he didn't go over. I mean, they just destroyed the credibility of that character. If you have someone who's supposed to have this like supernatural power or whatever it is. I mean,
the eater of worlds.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was a really unique, interesting character when he first came out, and he still could have been. When they revived him going against crazy Matt Hardy, that was good. And then he went out to Matt Hardy's farm.
That was
and
great.
He lost again.
And which made no sense to me. None. Like
that's the Hardy compound.
Yeah,
man.
they went to the Hardy compound.
WWE did a halfway decent job of intertwining Matt Hardy and the character he created when he was with TNA. They did a decent job of it. They didn't really screw it up. But then when they meshed, they made that feud between Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. That was wrestling gold. It was gold, and they ruined it. I think that should have been an ongoing feud that should have went on for. They could have done so much over the course of an entire year, and they just dropped it. They just said, "The heck with it." They just. I don't understand it. I just don't get where they I
think the problem is you just have entirely too. Back in the day, the writing team was small, right? The writing team was, I think Pat Patterson, Vince McMahon, and Bruce Pritchard, and then when Vince Russo came in, it was him too. And then Vince Russo also had Ed Ferrara. So you had at max a 5-man writing team. Now you got these Hollywood writers in there that really don't know a lot about wrestling, and they just try to make, okay, this here is an entertainment product. We have to make it appealing to this, that one, and the third. But I'll say it for the third time. They're trying to cook spaghetti, and then they want to test to see if it's done. They want to throw it up against the wall. And if it sticks, it's done, it works. But if it falls to the ground, back to the drawing board. I think you got too many chefs in the kitchen, and no one wants to run the food. Everybody wants to cook the food. But if you guys know the restaurant industry like I know, you can't have people cooking 11 people cooking the same dish over and over again because you're going to get different results. So that's when you have to minimize the situation as far as like, okay, well, I write this and I write that. I write this and I write that. Okay, we're gonna make this little small team. You other guys, you go do what you want to do. We'll call you when you need you. You have to simplify the writing team. You got too much going on. But at one point, rest in peace, legendary comedian Patrice O'Neal was a WWE writer, but he said, "You know what? I gotta go because I got some weekend gigs and I can't give it up." He told that to Stephanie, and Stephanie was like, "Well, guess you gotta go." He's like, "Yep, well, I quit." At one point, they had Freddie Prinze Jr. back there writing content for the WWE. So
yeah, but
it's just
none
like
of that matters if the head chef isn't letting the cooks get creative, because Vince McMahon is the one who has the ultimate say, and everything becomes formulaic. I'll give you an example. Last week we saw Cesaro wrestle Ricochet, and he beat him. How much you want to bet those two wrestle again on Monday Night Raw, and Ricochet wins this time? Any takers on that action?
They call it 50-50 booking.
It's formulaic laziness. I mean, it's how many times is Shane McMahon going to come out and yell and bring a henchman with him? And right now it's McIntyre, and he's going to put him in there against Roman Reigns, the hero. I mean, it's formulaic.
And throw some of the world's worst working punches.
Oh, I just don't. Why do you enjoy just irritating the crap out of me with just the things that go on in this wrestling world? If I have to see them and the thing about it is, I'm going to see them for another 5 to 10 years because for whatever reason, the McMahons think that we want to see Shane McMahon.
Yeah, I know. I don't get that either.
I really don't. Honestly, I'm tired of it. I don't want to see Shane McMahon at a pay-per-view jump off of a platform anymore.
Yeah, we've seen all that. They should just put a mask on him. Call him El Shano.
At this point, I mean, hey, like I said, best in the planetario or something. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I do like the best in the world.
But, that's so tired. They're running the CM Punk thing in the ground there.
Right. But yeah, besides that though, like I don't want to see Shane McMahon. I don't want to see Lars Sullivan or Snitsky 1.5
2.0. Yeah.
I don't want to see, like, for the love of God, can we please get Braun Strowman over? Like, I don't like just formulate. You guys said it best. And I'm just like, please, something, and not the 24/7 title, because that's just comedy.
Having said that, I can't wait to watch Raw on Monday. I'm gonna watch anyway.
I mean that's what it is. It's kind of like it's at the point where we watch it out of habit.
Because I watch it to see. I'm hoping and praying that something new happens.
Yeah, I think we watch with bated breath and like, man, I hope they do something different. I hope something happens, and I hope someone comes out who's coming back from injury. Speaking of coming back, Dolph Ziggler. Did you guys see Tuesday Night SmackDown this past week where Dolph Ziggler came back and just beat up Kofi and was like, hey, this should be me, this should be me. Yeah. And now this sets up the match for the Super Showdown. Where's it again? In Saudi Arabia?
Yep.
Yeah, the Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia. Now we got a world title match between Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston. And Dolph Ziggler just walked up, just come busting up out of nowhere about, I'm going to beat you up. It should be me. I want a title match. Quick question, guys. How do you guys feel about the Goldberg-Undertaker match at the Super Showdown? And be honest.
15 to 20 years ago, I'd have been pumped. But here's what I think is going to happen. Undertaker's going to walk real slow to the ring, and he's going to roll his eyes back, and him and Goldberg are going to stare each other down, and he's going to go for a spear, and Undertaker's going to kick out, and then he's going to give him the last ride of the tombstone, and then he's going to walk up the ramp, and he's going to stop and look back and raise his hand up in the air. Real slow.
So let's see. That's going to be. Let's see if we do the math correctly. Be Live, help us out. So it takes the Undertaker the average. Depending on the ramp size, it's going to be a long ramp. It's going to be in a big stadium.
Yeah.
So it's going to take the Undertaker probably about his ring entrance is going to be a good 2.5 minutes. Then the match is going to be 3.5.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 5 and some pocket change.
That's 6 minutes. Undertaker, but you gotta throw in Goldberg's entrance isn't short either.
No, it's not. It's not that short, man. It's just
So I mean, you might have more entrance time than you have match time. But I'm gonna say this real quick while we're doing math and everything. I I don't know if I was a person in Saudi Arabia that actually has been following WWE for quite some time. I would think this pay-per-view that they bring it over to our beloved country is a complete slap in the face. Are you serious? Who who did the research and said, guess what? Saudi Arabia is so far behind in the times as opposed to the United States that our main event would be Goldberg versus The Undertaker. Are you kidding me right now?
you know what this is. This is just it's about the MO, the NE, the Y. I think last year they signed a 10-year deal with I think they have some kind of working arrangement to improve the relations of freedom and everything. It's political. I'll go ahead and say it. Everybody else don't want to say it. I'll go ahead and say it. It's a political move, and the WWE is really benefiting off of it because the Saudis are throwing money, tossing money, big old bundles and bags of money at the WWE, and they're like, you know what? We ain't, we only got 2.3 people over, stateside watching this, so we'll gladly take those, we'll gladly take that, whatever I forgot what the breakdown was, but we'll gladly take that money, and every year we'll come over and do a pay-per-view, 2 pay-per-views out the year, and guess what? You see pyro there, all kind of pyro. All kind of firecracker budgets. I said, well, there goes the WWE network budget right there. the network subscription paid for the pyro in Saudi Arabia. And they can't even get over here to the U.S. Oh, we got to cut it back for budget cuts. But you shooting fireworks over there in Saudi Arabia. Like, I don't get it. It's a money move, man. I mean, I'm not mad at them, but it's like come on now. It's like Scott said, you give us some matches, what? 15, 20 years ago, we would have really cared about. Now it's kind of like, okay, now you just rolling out the old codgers once again and that whole nostalgic factor. But it's at the point like, Undertaker doesn't really work strong like he used to work like that. Those long WrestleMania matches, I think my personal opinion, the last big Undertaker match that he had was that last match he had against Shawn Michaels where he retired Shawn Michaels. Those back-to-back matches were great. Those 2 WrestleManias, those were great. But you just have to realize, it's all about the nostalgic factors now because you have a lot of wrestling podcasters out now and they're talking about, what happened when, what happened during the Monday Night Wars and what happened during the territory days. And that's a lot of big money for the nostalgic factor. So that's what I think that's what this is about. The WWE said, well, you know what? We want to get into this whole nostalgia money too. So therefore, let's go ahead and call The Undertaker. Let's go ahead and call Goldberg. They'll come over here, give them X amount of dollars, $2.5 million maybe just to show up. You take a bump, you take the fall, you go over, and everybody gets what they want. Because that's what it sounds like to me.
We'll see. I'm again not overly excited for the Super Showdown. Am I gonna wake up Friday morning, afternoon to tune in to see something that really has nothing to do with the running timeline of events in WWE? Like Goldberg versus Undertaker affects absolutely nothing. It does nothing unless Brock Lesnar is going to come down, take the Money in the Bank briefcase that has nothing to
Clean house.
knock both of them out so they can get rolled out, and then Kofi Kingston comes in, and I don't know.
I think Brock's going to challenge Seth on Raw, and that match is going to happen there.
You think so?
Because Seth doesn't have anything advertised for that yet. I think that's what's going down over there.
Nope. And I think they got another pay-per-view on this side called Stomping Ground coming out soon. Another new pay-per-view called WWE Stomping Ground. Something with stomping and grounds, something like that. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. What else is on that whole Super Show card? I think we got
Battle
the
Royal. Titus is going to fall under the ring. I'll have that again.
I hope so. I'll definitely pay to see that again. That world slide.
Right.
Let's see. We got Randy Orton and Triple H. That's a rivalry that's been around since forever. Okay, it's been a while since forever. Yet, the Super Show that will be taking place June the 7th in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, at the King Abdullah International Stadium. Let's see. At this time, there is really no big main event, so we got like a few matches. That one, and then you got Randy Orton and Triple H once again. If you don't know the history, Randy Orton and Triple H were along with Ric Flair Batista in a group called Evolution, and of course Triple H's ego got in the way, and well, you know what happened after that. He went to go do his own thing, and that's that. That's that as far as that goes. And Randy Orton become one of the greats, and Triple H wound up marrying into the family and become the COO of WWE, which I think he'll do a better job than Vince when he takes over. So, all right, so here's what we got going on here. All right, we got Triple H versus Randy Orton grudge match, a 50-man battle royal, the Goldberg and Undertaker match, which we talked about, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. Let's see. The only match I'm really looking forward to is Finn Balor and Andrade for the Intercontinental Championship. And then we got Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns and Kofi versus Dolph Ziggler. Am I the only one that finds this card lackluster?
I already told you that. I literally just fell asleep with you reading that. I'm just being 100% honest. Finn Balor, Andrade. That's the only one I'm watching.
Yeah, because the rest is either we've seen like variations of these matches, or I just want to see the battle royal just to see it.
50. I'm trying to figure out where these 50 people are coming from. I didn't know.
They probably got 50 people at Raw alone. Okay, the bodies are there. The bodies are there. Who knows? They might drag somebody up from NXT and just they might get some.
We're gonna see a whole bunch of people that we ain't seen in months.
Yeah.
But all right. I'm falling asleep on the WWE right now. I'm ready to talk about something else. Because
yeah.
Because we got the Sports Bros podcast coming up, and I know there's some voices and choices and all kinds of things that people are ready to hear about. Because I'm just saying, WWE, get it together, do something.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
Quick. And with that being said, Be Live and Scottie D rule in this episode 1 of the WrestleBros podcast. All right. And with that being said, Be Live, how can they reach you?
Well, you can find me where you find me, wherever I decide to be at. No, I'm just playing. You can find me right now. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You can find me. I'm on vacation right now. I'm doing a little mini vacay. This is actually being recorded from the ATL, baby.
ATL.
Well, you can find me back in Fayetteville, North Carolina at Mac's Speed Shop. I'll be back there on when these podcasts roll out on Tuesday. But you can also find me on the Instagram and Twitter. This be your boy with no I, THSBEYABOYBLIVE. You can also find me with the Sports Bros on Twitter, Sports Bros PCast. Find me on Facebook. My name's Brian Livingston. If you want to look a brother up, you ain't get
the government.
You ain't get the whole government, but you get enough to locate me or locate us, Sports Bros Podcast, on our Facebook like page. Check us out. Listen, like, comment, and share. Give us feedback. We want to get better for you, the fans, the listeners. Thank you all.
Exactly. Scottie D, where can they reach you?
I hope they can't. I'd like to not be reached. And I just want to tell you guys, I don't need a friend, and I don't need a partner. I just need my sports brothers.
Oh, that's cute.
That's cute, dog. You just need those sports bros.
Sound like he need a nap. That's what he needs.
He needs some milk. Oh God. Well, anyways, I am the HOC up in this thing, Eddie Cool, the head of creative. You can reach me on Facebook. I'm always on the Sports Bros podcast like page, posting all kind of funny stuff and everything. Also, you can reach me on Snapchat, Supercool5000. Also on Instagram, or the gram as the kids call it, at almost got my name for a second. Cool Season, all one word. Facebook, Eddie Cool, not my real government name, but you'll put two and two together. And also on Twitter, the Sports Bros PCast. All right, that is episode 1 in the books of the WrestleBros podcast. This your boy Eddie Cool, the HOC, and for the Almighty B Live and the Money Man Scottie D, keep on fighting. See you next time on the WrestleBros podcast.